If this microphone wasn't $400, I would chuck it across the room. This is wild.
Yeah. Hey.
Hi.
Welcome.
This is Two Girls, One Ghost.
Two girls, one ghost. And we are your ghostesses. That's Corinne.
Hello.
I'm Sabrina. And this is an Encounters episode. And I brought my own slippers.
Which is so funny because this is the first time I put this on because I was like, I want to wear my slippers today. And then you came up in these.
BYOS. Boss.
Yeah, boss. I know this is an Encounters episode, but I did get you a gift
Why?
because I ordered it a while ago and it came in. So
Okay.
it was a TikTok shop. And with TikTok, we're doing this before TikTok is supposedly getting banned.
Yeah.
So TikTok shop might not be anymore. But this is your gift. And I want you to fully open it because I also want to experience it.
Why am I nervous?
It shouldn't be it's not a nerve-wracking thing.
Okay.
And I am curious if you came across this on TikTok shop.
What if I already bought it for myself?
I kind of feel like you would have told me about it if you did.
Whoa.
Do you know what this is?
No.
Okay.
The smell of the moon?
So this perfumery, based on all of the depictions that astronauts have made about how space smells, they created a perfume. And I don't think this is going to be a perfume you wear. I think people say it smells really odd.
Okay.
But this is the smell of space.
Okay, I'm going to read. It does smell strange. I feel like I'm getting a whiff. Decades ago, astronauts aboard the International Space Station noticed something strange. After returning from a spacewalk, the astronauts secured the safety hatch, took off their extravehicular mobility units, the emus, commonly known as spacesuits, commonly known as emus, and smelled something strange. A rather pleasant, metallic sensation like sweet-smelling welding fumes, burning metal, a distinct odor of ozone, an acrid smell, walnuts and broke pads, gunpowder, fruit, rum, and burnt almond cookie. Even the first space tourists exclaimed about a pungent aroma like burnt cookies once the hatch opened. The smell of space is so distinct that NASA reached out to a fragrance maker to recreate the odor for its training simulations. Okay, so
are we going to smell space? Is it bad?
it's like burnt rubber
Oh, this is odd.
as you keep taking massive whiffs.
I wonder if they have this at the Museum of Science because it's giving me gift shop, like Museum of Science gift shop smell.
Why do I strangely want to keep smelling it?
Right?
I feel like we're going
It
to get
is
high
weird.
off of this.
Spray it. Spray it right here.
I'll
cover my M&Ms. Oh, well, the heater. Did you see the heat take it away? Spray down here. I do smell the sugary amaretto.
Yeah, that's that kind of comes at the end, but it's surrounded by.
I'm getting that first and rubber second.
I guess the lingering scent is not so positive or pleasant.
It smells like almond cookies that are made in an oven where there's a gas leak.
It's getting worse.
It is getting worse.
I love it so much, though. Thank you.
There's a spiciness to it.
This is going to be added to our collection on the bookshelf.
How do you feel about space now that you've smelled it?
Well, I'll be in a suit, so.
That you think the aliens are going to give you a suit?
Yeah, because they'll want me to live. Right? They want to keep me around.
Okay.
They do. I know it.
I can't stop smelling it.
I feel like we're getting, like when you sniff markers, huff glue and stuff.
Yeah. It feels I'm getting tire shop now.
Yeah. It is tire shop.
Yeah.
We're getting spacey with space scent.
Interesting. I understand the million descriptions on the back because you do get hints of so many different things.
So there's no atmosphere on the moon, right?
No.
So atmosphere.
It's
so space smells like this, but not all planets smell like this.
It's true.
I wonder if you can bottle the smell of Earth.
Oh.
But there's not one smell.
Yeah, because there's a million different smells.
Could there be multiple smells in space?
I wonder if it's more of, well, I feel like yes, right?
I don't know.
Because the smell, if there's a burning comet flying by,
I'm
sure this would give, it is lingering. Man, who is this perfumery? Because if they create good smelling perfumes, this has got some staying power. And if there's something nice, you could be smelling good all day long.
Let's see.
I don't even know who makes this.
I don't know. It doesn't say. Anyway, thank you. I actually have not seen this on TikTok Shop.
I ordered it so long ago. It took a while to come in. It was supposed to be part of your Christmas gift.
This is a great
this is now
addition. Thank you.
A February gift. But the smell of the moon.
The smell of the moon. Well, we have a gift for all of you, and it's a bunch of ghost stories. And I know that's what you came for. I wish you could transcend smell through video.
I know. Everyone just buy this.
Yeah. Also,
it's worth it.
We have a couple call to actions before we read your stories. We would love... So we had an episode on our Patreon that just came out. It was a bonus episode. And you covered superstitions from New England.
Mm-hmm.
And we were asking our Patreon donors to let us know superstitions that they follow. So call to action to all of you, or from all of you that we require of you, please email us superstitions that you follow. Like, do you knock on wood all the time?
Mm-hmm.
Do you make sure you don't step on cracks because you don't want to crack your mother's back?
What's your certain flavor of neuroticy?
Neurosi.
Yeah. How neurotic are you?
And what odd and unusual superstitions do you follow? Like, what were you taught growing up that maybe is not mainstream stereotypes?
Like that you'll get arrested if you put the light on in the back of your car.
Yes, it's illegal, Corinne. You can't do it.
I know. That's not a superstition. That was a lie from my mother. So,
but you believed it for a very long time.
Otherwise, I don't think I really follow anything weird. Other than I think just the fear of I don't look in mirrors at night.
I definitely don't look in mirrors
when
at
night falls, you don't look in a mirror.
I don't have mirrors like facing each other.
Mm-hmm.
I pet every cat I see. I have to. Like, you have to.
Is that a superstition? Or
it's good luck. It's bad luck to not pet a cat if you see it.
I think you're assigning a superstition to the thing that you just already want to do.
Isn't that how superstitions begin?
I guess.
Maybe. Anywho, we have ghost stories. And I'm going to start with one that, I don't know why the connection's being made, but because we're smelling space.
We're still smelling space very much.
I think we'll be smelling space for a long time.
I think I'm going to have to bring what are they called? Like a room purifier, air purifier in here?
We might need to burn some incense.
Yeah, we do.
Well, this is kind of space adjacent. Not really. It's atmospheric.
Okay.
It's from our listener, Kay, and it is called, Hi, I was struck by lightning in 2019.
Holy shit.
Okay, my name is Kay. I don't typically send emails to podcasts. I'm more of a quiet listener, but I came across your fantastic and very fun podcast recently, and I just finished your episode from August 20th about lightning strikes. I was actually a conduit of a lightning strike in 2019. Here is the story of how it happened.
I feel like we're meeting a famous person because so few people get struck by lightning.
Yeah, and live to tell the tale.
Right.
You mentioned wondering about a possible connection between lightning strikes and gaining paranormal abilities. While I can't say I gained anything, I did already have the ability to see, hear, feel spirits. I'm also a bit of an empath, and occasionally I think on pure coincidence and logical guesses that I'm able to predict or see future outcomes. People in my life have remarked about my ability to predict the future correctly, so maybe there is possible merit to it. But here is my lightning strike story. In truth, I have 3.
What the Are you okay?
1, lightning hit a houseboat I was in when I was very young. It sunk, everyone survived, and there were no injuries. 2, I was driving my car when I was 16. It was extremely rainy, so I pulled off on the side of the road. And as I stopped the car, I lightly collided with a metal fence post. At the same time that my car collided with this post, it was struck by lightning. So I received a small electric current run through my body. Otherwise, I felt fine. Could you imagine the timing of that?
I think you're the daughter of a god, and they're trying to trigger your superpowers.
Zeus.
Literally.
Zeus is calling you.
Like how you're getting powered up through multiple lightning strikes.
Yeah. But in 2019, I had actually been on the phone with my mom when I was struck. I had just gotten home from the grocery store. It was raining, but there had been no visible lightning or thunder yet. However, there were about 4 inches of water flooding my parking lot. I decided the rain would not stop soon, and so I tried to be quick about getting my groceries from the trunk of my car and running inside my house. However, when I lifted the trunk, I had to keep my right hand on top of the car while picking up the shopping bags. In my experience, my ears started to ring loudly. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up. I became suddenly very dizzy, and my hair, which was waist length at the time, began to rise in the air. I looked up and to the left of me, and I saw a streak of lightning slowly moving towards me. This is all happening in slow motion.
Oh my God.
I calmly and out loud said, lightning. I instinctively dropped my groceries, took my hand off my car, picked up my left foot, closed my eyes, and turned my back towards the lightning. I felt very hot, and I heard a deafening loud boom, which was followed by what felt like 12 seconds of silence, followed again by a second boom. I fell to the ground, got back up, grabbed my groceries, and ran inside. My mom, however, who had been on the phone with me through my AirPods, experienced a very different version. She heard me shriek, lightning, while simultaneously hearing a loud boom. I was then silent for a minute until I finally woke up and started responding to her calling my name before I grabbed my bags and ran inside.
Oh my God.
The only interesting side effect I had from this experience was that before the lightning strike, I had nerve damage in my right foot. I could walk, but I couldn't feel anything. After I was hit, all the feeling in my foot returned.
If this microphone wasn't $400, I would chuck it across the room. This is wild.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, due to the strike, I now have more nerve damage in the rest of my body.
Damn it.
And sometimes I get shaky. Yeah. Fourth time's the charm. Sometimes I get shaky or a loose feeling in my hands, arms, legs, and feet. But hey, I'm still here and I survived to live another day and I am grateful for it. Hope you all have a lovely day, Kay.
I mean,
Superhero.
My initial, like the first thing I want to say is like, don't go outside, Kay, but it clearly doesn't matter because whether you're in a car or you are in a literal houseboat,
Yeah.
you're inside of things and you still get struck. You're outside, you're inside.
Well, doesn't it make you think that someone's physical body makeup changes after being struck by lightning or even having like a surge that goes through you? Because she has the first one when she's young on a houseboat.
Yeah.
She has another one, which the timing of that and the things that all had to happen at the exact same time for her to get struck again.
Right.
It almost makes me think that like the lightning struck that fence because of her energy.
She is the target.
Yeah. And then for it to hit again
beam
when she's outside, like, and she explains like she saw her hair rising up.
Yeah.
It's almost like the energy was reacting inside of her body first and then the lightning. Like, it's like two
one of the things
negative and positive hit like
yeah.
magnets.
But your hair rising is one of the like if you're hiking and your hair starts to rise, you're supposed to like sprint away from where you are because lightning's about to strike you. That's like one of the signs.
She's literally a magnet, lightning magnet.
You're also saying that the very first time she got struck might have contributed to the second and third time. But what if what if this was always her? Like there's something energetically in her that it didn't take the first lightning strike. There's like, just some sort of...
Okay, well now I'm like, are people who are open to the paranormal on this energy wavelength that attracts lightning? Are you more likely to be struck if you can see the paranormal?
Did you know my dad was almost struck?
No.
He's almost died a million times. He was in a garage and it struck right outside of the garage. So he was like 10 feet away and he got blown back and like passed out in the garage.
Jeez.
When he was like in his 20s or something.
But
he hasn't been struck again.
The scarring that some people have from...
Yeah.
We actually had a listener on Campfire Stories once she had like a whole scar down the right side of her arm that I think she got a tattoo of.
She did. Yeah.
And it's from being struck by lightning.
Yeah. Didn't we like read her email? I think maybe
we might have. You tell us, listeners.
We don't know.
Does that
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I know you don't normally write into podcasts, but I do feel like there's going to be something more. There's some sort of like super power weirdness that's going to come through.
And also, Kay, you said that you're open, you see, hear, feel spirits, and like have potentially predicted the future. So we want to hear those stories too. You've already emailed in once, so why not twice?
Please.
Maybe 3 times because you
got struck.
For every time you've gotten struck by lightning, you have to email us.
An email. That goes for everyone. All 2 people who've been struck by lightning, though.
Which is a
lot of listeners struck by lightning.
That's a high percentage.
That is a high percentage.
That might mean that if you listen to 2 Girls, 1 Ghost, you might be more likely.
Okay, this story is called Castle Burning Skulls Painting House.
I feel like someone just did like a Mad Libs.
Yeah. Well, it's not a hashtag, but like a...
just like keywords? Keywords.
Keyword. Wow, brain. Come on.
Actually, I had an idea. This is another call to action. We need your help. Again, help us. So on Campfire Stories, we've done like a couple of episodes where it's like a grab hat, like hat grab.
Mm-hmm.
Hat grab.
They both sound wrong.
They do. Where you basically throw a bunch of topics in a hat. We grab blindly and then a story is chosen or someone comes up based on that topic.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it'd be really fun to do that for an encounters episode where we don't pick stories ahead of time, but we
just throw a keyword into our email and we just blindly select one. So that's a great idea.
So people send us keywords and we'll collect them, put them in a hat, and then live pick stories.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Doesn't that sound
fun? And if
fun?
you sent stories that we haven't read yet, you can respond to your email in the email thread and just like type the keywords associated with it so that we can potentially find your story a bit quicker.
How fun would that be?
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm brilliant.
Okay. Hello, Ghoulish Girlies. My name is Jessica. I came across your podcast as I've run out of everything to listen to in true crime, but I'm so glad that I did. I've got so many stories from when I was younger and living in my hometown of good old Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Not only is it the old Play Bunny resort of Hugh Hefner, but it's home to great negativity as well.
I'm not surprised by that.
I only say that as weird things or bad coincidences have happened that I've noticed over the years as I've gotten older. But I do want to start with a story from when I was probably a freshman. My family had been evicted from our house due to my dad having lost his job from a really bad car accident, which in all honesty, he should have never survived. It was Super Bowl night, February 2008. My dad had a bad head-on accident with, ironically, my best friend's cousin. Thankfully, they both survived. My dad went into fight or flight and took on the role of EMT, which his dad, my grandfather, was an EMT for as long as I can remember. My dad said something just took him over, that he needed to get out of the car and help the other guy, my BFF's cousin, and my dad saved him.
Wow.
But I also want to add that my grandfather had passed away 2 years before that. I feel my grandfather was with my dad to guide him in that moment.
I believe it too.
Yeah. And they both survived, thankfully. And we're going to fast forward about 2 months.
See, this is evidence of there are good and healthy possessions.
That's true. Yes.
Positive possession.
Something takes you over. It's your grandfather saving your
lives.
dad.
Yeah. 2 lives.
We're going to fast forward about 2 months. My dad lost his job because the accident had left him disabled. We got evicted. We had to move to another house 2 blocks from our old house that we had lived in. And that house was directly across the street from a cemetery, which I do have a lot of stories from that house. But those stories are not as crucial and horrifying as the house that I'm about to tell you about. This house we just moved into after we got evicted seemed nice and cute and old, one of the original homes in Lake Geneva. And after 2 months of settling in, my dad was fully healed from the surgery that he had to have, and he decided to go outside and do a deep clean of the yard. And we came across a headstone, not like a prop for Halloween, but one that belongs in a cemetery.
I know that this story is going to take a dark turn, but that is the coolest discovery.
So cool. Oh, when we met the people that we bought the house from, they told us, because they were like, oh, did you take down that tree in the back? Because we said we took down a couple trees. And we're like, no, we love that tree. And they're like, oh, good, we buried our dog under it. I was like, oh, well, I'm certainly never taking this tree down now.
Oh,
that dog will stay there forever.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm glad they told us.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, well, now it's always going to be the dog memorial. Maybe when we have a dog and they pass, we'll bury them there too. Our own little pet cemetery.
You should put like a little marker for him.
I know I want to.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll like carve the name of the dog into the tree. I'll have to ask them what their dog's name was.
That's really cool.
Because then the tree will be kind of like the grave.
The memorial. Yeah.
So my dad called the city and someone came out and did a reading of the property and of this gravestone. Thankfully, nothing was found, no bodies that were found. And so my dad removed the stone. Nay, old man. Things stirred up. We'd hear footsteps upstairs in my room. We'd hear talking. And in older homes, they have these holes in the floor with iron discs that would help heat in older homes. And the discs were so that your feet wouldn't go through the floor.
It's a good precaution to have in a house.
I can't even picture what these look like.
No, me neither.
I'll look them up. But when I would walk past, the iron discs would rattle. Well, it would just be me and my mom or my brother, and there would be no one upstairs, and yet you could hear the discs moving and footsteps. So like actual physical weight. Like
moving
the floor. After 6 months of living there, in the middle of summer, we had this really bad storm with tornadoes and sirens going off, and we had to go to the basement. And the weird thing about these storms in this house was crickets would come out of our basement. It's reminding me of silverfish.
I hate.
Ugh. I had no idea what they were called. And I don't know how I got this name. I think I just like truly thought they were called moonbugs. And I called them moonbugs for years in LA until someone was like, silverfish? It's like, oh. Yeah, but I only saw them when the moon was out.
Oh, interesting.
They were moonbugs.
Oh, see, I feel like those I grew up with like coming in the winter.
In New Jersey?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was a California thing.
No.
I've never seen them before.
Ew.
I've never seen them in Massachusetts either.
I have not seen them here yet either. Wait, actually, I did see this one nasty fucking bug.
What?
That kind of looked like a massive giant silverfish, but it was like yellowish brown, and it was massive and had the longest, thinnest legs. It was not a spider, and it moved so quickly that it disappeared like into the wall, and I couldn't find it. But it was like shortly after Payne and I moved into the house, and we had like no furniture really except for a couch down in the living room.
Yeah.
And like I've never jumped onto a
cockroach?
couch. No. It was like unlike anything I've ever seen before.
You gotta go to like a bug identification website and figure out what it was.
Literally, my skull just hurt from thinking about looking at bugs.
Now I don't even want to be by the wall. What if there's a bug near me? How would we ever find a bug here? The pattern is too intense. They could just be near us all the time.
I
Do you
will
want to
say I'm
trade
proud of
chairs?
you. The spider is no longer.
Oh,
Remember the dead spider that was there for like a month? It's no longer there.
yeah. Well, what's mine doing?
I'm sorry for scaring you.
I didn't pick it up. Someone else did. We never go into the basement much because in this house it was old and it was this old dirt basement. And so we just never really got around to using it until emergencies. Well, during this tornado season, thunderstorm, we were forced to go into the basement. And while down there, we just kind of took a small stroll looking to see what was all down there from the previous people. And we saw some board leaning up against the wall, which must have been about 5 feet wide by 3 feet tall. And it was a painting of a castle that was on fire. And the flames were burning 13 skulls.
What is strange.
I know. Once we found the painting and realized what we had found, we heard a loud thud upstairs. And as fast as everything happened, everything stopped, all within a 10-minute span. We ran upstairs and we had found that a tree had fallen through the roof into my bedroom. And during the cleanup, we got rid of the painting, and things did still happen here and there once in a while, but it was not as bad as it was before. So we chalked these little things up to maybe the cemetery down the road, and spirits just came by to visit. But once we got rid of the painting, everything that was odd or weird or bad that happened kind of stopped. And now as I'm
Interesting.
31 years old, I still have dreams of this house, like in sleep paralysis. And I'm standing in front of this house and something is holding me there and I can't scream. I can't run. So now, as I said, Lake Geneva has some weird stories, some history and legends, folklore. But there is this infamous beast of Bray Road.
We've talked about that.
We have covered it. My dad has never shared publicly, as he has not wanted to be known as the weirdo in town, like the one man who honestly is very obsessed with the legend of the beast, to the point where he wrote a book and he wears shirts and
It's his whole identity now.
yeah, basically. They just go on to continue to talk about like how much he loves the beast.
Which,
I identify with him.
I was just going to say, sounds like someone I know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But my dad swears up and down that he has seen the beast living on Bray Road. He saw it in the late 80s. He was driving down Bray Road just outside of LG and he heard a howl along with other dogs. So he assumed that it was from a farm far off in the distance that we've seen during the day because they have a fence and they have dogs running around. But as he continued down and was driving, he swerved in the road as something as big as Sasquatch, just massive in size, but not Sasquatch. It was more doggish. But as years and stories have come out, my dad has realized that he was not the only one to see this thing. But besides me, he's never told anyone because our family is very well known in the community. My grandma was the first female to be an EMT in the department. I feel like people are going to be able to identify your family now.
I know. We know everything about your family.
Yeah.
Also, I wish your dad would tell this guy.
I know.
The Beast of Bray Road fanatic, because then he wouldn't be so alone.
Right.
And also think about how many other people in this town have experienced or seen him, but they don't want to be. I just have so much empathy and love for Beast of Bray Road guy.
Yeah, same. And I also feel like this is the thing whenever there's any sightings of cryptids or aliens or paranormal, every time we get a report, I'm assuming that that's like the 1% or 2% of people
100%.
that actually report it.
I agree.
Because I think about how many emails that we've gotten. How many of you guys have like gone to reporters and like actually created a report on a website or with anyone who's collecting these sort of things? Probably none of you.
And also think about in relation to how many listeners we have, the percentage of emails we have is a fraction of that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of you who probably have encounters who have not shared them with us.
Like I know someone who's seen Bigfoot, and I know someone who's seen Champ, the lake monster. Neither person reported seeing those beasts. Just kept the story close until one told me and one told my dad.
And then we told all of you.
Yeah. And then I was like, wait a second, I have a podcast. I'm going to tell everybody. Thank you for sharing your secret with me.
Yeah. Gosh. Cryptid secrets are the best secrets.
Okay, so my grandma was the first female to be an EMT in her department for where she and my grandfather worked and lived. And my great-grandfather and my grandma lived just blocks away from the town's priest who would travel for last rites and gave the word of God to inmates like Ed Gein, John Gacy, and others.
Okay.
My grandmother still has all of his Bibles in an enclosed bookcase. Along with the books are ledgers of all the people that he would travel for and give the word of God to. Whoa, that is a freaking collector's item.
Yeah.
But my grandma will not let us touch the books. She says they're blessed every single year since her dad had passed. And one year she didn't have time to have them blessed. And this was 2016. And she had her fish tank on top of the enclosed bookcase. And she swears she fed all of her fish at 8 a.m. and came over around 12. And all of her fish were dead.
Holy shit.
The water was scalding hot when touching the glass. So ever since, she made sure to never forget. And we remind her to never forget to bless it. But I always make the joke, well, I guess God couldn't even save them. But it makes me wonder, what is in the case?
Yeah.
Why have them blessed? Was this a fluke? How does a fish tank just burn just sitting there?
Yeah.
And
also,
it
happens to be the one time.
Yeah. So I know this is a long history and weird twists and turns along with my family history as well, but I'm going to give one last small story of another cemetery outside of LG, Lake Geneva. My mom was on her way one night to go to my dad's, and this was when they first started dating. And every time she would go past the cemetery, her car would die. No reason. Gas was good, battery fantastic. No other explanation why or how it would die. But once she would put it in neutral, she would just roll past it. And once she got past the cemetery, she would try to start it again and boom, it would start right back up. Sometimes it would just jolt back to life and she would head off as if nothing happened. And she wasn't the only one with stories like that.
That is crazy.
I have some other stories that I will eventually email Jessica.
Okay, yeah, Jessica totally gave us like all the information that we could at this very moment probably spend 20 minutes to like find who she is and who her whole family is. But we won't out you like that. Someone else can do that work. I feel like Jessica's family is way more witchy. I mean, speaking of superstitions, like cleansing these Bibles every year is a superstition now. Like it,
and even just collecting this, like having the urge to keep this item
and put it in like a case and protect it like that. Mm-hmm. There's some powerful freaking energy.
There is. There's a lot going on.
Damn.
It feels, maybe it's the way that Jessica told it, but it kind of feels casual. Like it's like, oh yeah, my car just would always stop at the cemetery. But as soon as I got past, I just stick it in neutral, get past it, turn it on, go. Oh, Dad just saw a beast, but we don't talk about it. It's fine.
The house, though, okay,
the burning skulls in the castle painting.
It probably isn't like this because Jessica said that they like were evicted and this was the home that they moved into. But for some reason, I'm picturing it as this gothic castle that still has gas lit lanterns. Or oil, oil lanterns. No, like that they're living in.
Oh, in the house.
Because there's the tombstone outside.
I know.
The basement with this like
I can't picture it as just like a, like this. What are they called? Like the split level houses. Just like a casual split level with, like some boxwoods outside.
No, it's made
out of cemetery.
It's made out of stone that was like hand carved.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, Lake Geneva is very old and I think there are a lot of stone homes.
So maybe we're correct. Send us pictures, Jessica. Okay, this is called Shadow Man, Indigenous Spirits, and Ghostly Grandmas. A couple stories from my childhood. Hello, Corinne and Sabrina. Your podcast is awesome. Thank you for all that you do. Did I do this on purpose?
What did you do?
It's from the same person who sent the first story.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, now we get two.
It's also from Kay. I think I probably did it because the lightning story wasn't as paranormal and I wanted a paranormal from Kay. So ignore me giving you shit earlier, Kay. Thank you for sending us another paranormal email. You do owe us one more, though, because...
so there's two.
We're being so greedy. Okay. My name is Kay. Here are 3 stories. Oh, God. You owe us 3 emails on 3 stories. We're horrible. Story 1. I guess you could say I was a creepy kid. Honestly, I think the creepiness, as you call it, runs in the family through the women on my mom's side. I'm just going to watch you eat that M&M.
Just watch me casually consume 1,300 calories of M&Ms.
It's my fault. You can blame it on me.
I know. You got me a giant pack of them and I poured almost the entire thing into that bowl.
Yeah. You got me the smell of the moon and I got you M&Ms. Which, if you're curious, the smell of the moon does still exist here.
It does.
It's potent.
When is olfactory fatigue going to kick in?
I don't know. Okay, I guess you could say I was a creepy kid. Honestly, I think the creepiness, as you can call it, runs in the family through the women on my mom's side. I first started seeing spirits before I could even walk. My mom and I lived alone in a small cabin in the mountains when I was 1 to 2. The house had belonged to a lovely elderly couple that had passed away in the house. She recalls smelling bacon and eggs cooking every Sunday morning, even though no one had been in the kitchen.
I love that. That's such a great stain on the house, a paranormal stain.
That's a smell that even though I don't eat bacon, I would love the smell of bacon and eggs wafting through the home.
Yeah, some coffee, some maple
we should bottle
bacon.
That.
Yeah.
As well as her possessions would randomly go missing. Earrings, skirts, the TV remote. And she would always find them up in the attic. When I was still small enough to sleep in a crib, I remember one evening waking up, being scared, crying out for my mom.
Aww.
But my mom never came. However, someone else did hear my call. All of a sudden, there was an elderly woman who was slightly see-through looking down at me.
Oh my God.
And I remember her saying something like, "Shh, don't cry. It's okay." She then picked me up. And I remember thinking, cold. But then she rocked me to sleep and I fell back to sleep.
No freaking way. Can you come to my house?
Right?
I need your help.
In toddler speak, I asked my mom the next morning who the old lady was visiting my home, and she had no idea what I was talking about. Okay. Story number 2, a shadow person who happens to wear a top hat. After listening to your podcast, I have since found out that this type of spirit is common, and I had no idea that this is an entity other people experienced. When I was around 4 to 9 years old, so for 5 years,
wow,
I would sometimes stay at my still to this day best friend's house. How sweet.
That's very sweet.
Everything was always fine except for at night. She would often mention this very tall, faceless shadow man who wears a top hat that visited her room at night.
Huh.
And he did. Many times over the years, she and I, or one of us, would wake up to see this scary thing. He would move around her room, hover above the bed, never saying a word, and never would touch the bed nor us.
Hell no.
But it was terrifying, menacing, and unnerving to say the least.
It does make me wonder in cases like this, like, is this Hat Man? Or is this just another spirit wearing a hat? Like, how do you distinguish the two?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe the energy and the vibe?
Yeah. Is my lip bleeding?
No.
Oh. Somehow liquidy for a second.
Maybe you were salivating from the M&Ms.
I think I was. It was drool.
Now, I always thought this was a creepy AF ghost stuck at her house. But then she moved away to a different state, and that spirit started showing up in my house and houses. I moved a lot as a kid, so this thing followed me to 2 different homes. And my house was different than hers. It would only ever stand in the corner of my room, almost like it had some invisible barrier, like it was stuck there and not allowed to come any closer. I honestly don't know why. Maybe it was my guides keeping it away, or maybe I had better spiritual protection in my home. I don't know. I really couldn't tell you. But what I can tell you is that sometimes I just ignored this creep. But whenever I got super scared or really wanted him to get the fuck out, I told him with full force to leave, that he was not welcome in my home. And for just extra good measure, I would picture a bubble of white light and love surrounding myself that would extend through my whole entire house. And he always left. One day he just stopped appearing. I never questioned why. And as my mom always says, never look a gift horse in the mouth.
I think you need to start doing that bubble of protection when it's stormy outside.
Right.
Because maybe you do have this power to do like a force field.
Yeah. Oh, what was that book? Man, this was like a couple of years ago, but it was the one with the women who had the power in their hands. And it was like a society that when women got their periods, like they...
Did I read it too?
Yeah. With power in hands.
Not the How to Hang a Witch one where they kind of like have the beam that kind of shoots up, right? They have power in their hands.
It's literally called The Power.
I didn't read this.
Really? I feel like we talked about it. It's The Power by Naomi Alderman. And it was basically this like fictional but interesting study on what a society would look like if the women were the stronger species.
I do remember you talking about this now, but I did not read it.
Okay. I highly recommend.
But I do want to.
With all the time that you have.
Yeah, I know. I'm like looking at my bookshelf like, did I already buy it?
If I have it, maybe that's the book I'll give to you at our book club this month.
Oh, yes. Yes, please.
My last story, which is the scariest encounter. When I was 15-ish, my family moved into a new home in the woods/mountains. It was built in the 70s by the previous owners. And we believe the owners actually peacefully haunted this property, but they were not the issue. We would occasionally hear footsteps, we could smell perfume wafting by, and a man in a cowboy hat could sometimes be seen in the corner of your eye. And this house is what made my dad believe in ghosts. He had not before, but boy, does he now.
Yikes.
This house has a couple of stories. So let's, right off the bat, talk about the haunted axe.
Oh, that sounds extremely dangerous.
They had a little bit of land connected to the house, and a little ways down a hill from the back door, there was a tree stump with an extremely old and damaged-looking axe. My mom, stepdad, and I had just moved in, and we were trying to clean the home and clear the land of any trash. I'm picturing like the sword of Excalibur that you can't pull it out.
Mm-hmm.
But Kay said, of course, I took this axe and carried it all the way up the hill, put it in the trash. The next day, it was back, buried in the stump again.
Fuck no.
I was weirded out and took it again all the way to the trash. And I made sure to watch it be taken off of our property to the local dump. 2 days later, it was back.
Whatever is doing this can easily wield an axe, which is so scary.
Right. And then I'm
But
like,
also, what's the attachment to the axe?
Is someone watching an axe like levitate through the universe? Or is it just being like bloop, teleported through a time warp?
Yeah. Or is the axe still in the dump? And then this is just like one of those, we live in a simulation and it just keeps reappearing. So now there's 2 axes in the dump and it just keeps bloop, bloop. A new one keeps coming. Because they're like, oh, shoot, the axe isn't there anymore.
Because the program is written for an axe to be there.
Right.
We're on to you. Creators.
Computer people.
We know what you're up to. We see your game.
And we
keep playing.
Whatever.
But no, it took 5 more times.
M&Ms are supposed to be in here.
What if? Let's stare at it.
Oh my God. Peanut M&Ms.
I would if you could manifest peanut M&Ms.
Oh my God.
That's just the beginning. Think about the opportunity we could create
more
a bowl
peanut
of
M&Ms.
so many peanut M&Ms. Peanut M&Ms for everyone.
What if like we actually have the power to do that, and that's where we end the power?
The
We're just like, oh, that's great,
before.
and we never tried to do more.
Yeah. Well, you don't want to push your luck.
No.
We're really chatty today. I'm sorry. I think it's the space juice.
Yeah.
We're high.
I do have a headache.
I think we're high.
Yeah. But I also had 400 peanut M&Ms, so my heart is racing.
You're sugar high.
I haven't had enough water.
Moon high.
I feel like I'm going to throw up.
I'm out of water, too.
It smells like rubber in here.
Whoa, what was that laugh? We're descending into madness. Thank you for joining us for it. Anyway, okay. Kay said, I started asking my mom and dad if they were messing with me, but no, it took 5 more times of us throwing this axe away before it finally and truly stayed away. That wasn't even the scariest bit. In the beginning, we would hear these eerie, weird whistles at night.
Wait, where do you live?
The woods. And then the energy in the house just felt uneasy and we really couldn't figure out why. However, I always slept with my dog on the bed. She was only 5 pounds and also blind, but I felt safer from any ghosty spookies when she was there. One night, she woke me up. She was howling and barking with all her might. I sat up. I opened my eyes to see her on the corner of my bed barking at the scariest entity I had ever laid eyes on. Listen, I regularly see spirits. It was a very tall, hooded figure, yet it was wearing a mask of some kind. Almost like a Dementor mixed with no face from Spirited Away. And this spirit was radiating hatred and anger.
Oh, God.
And it was reaching out its long hand toward my dog, almost as if it was puzzled by her existence. And then it looked at me. I grabbed my dog so she wouldn't be this close to the spirit. And honestly, it felt as if my life were going to end. It rapidly started coming closer to me, so I quickly pictured my love, a white light bubble like I had done with the Shadow Man countless times when I was younger, And I pictured this bubble going through the spirit. And when it made contact, so to speak, the spirit stopped, looked down at itself as if I had somehow done it harm. Then it seemed even more angry and maybe even offended I had done such a thing. It lunged towards me as if to grab me, but before it could actually touch me, it vanished into the air. When I told my mom what had happened, she told me that she had a dream a couple nights before of that exact same entity.
Whoa.
And during her dream, it made her feel very scared, but she had also tried to push love towards this creature, and it seemed pissed off by the love and disappeared. She then did some research, and we found out we were living on what used to be, or technically still is, depending on your view of things, Indigenous lands. And there had sadly been a massacre of their people there, which reminds me of the Conjuring House.
Mm-hmm.
And the parents saw like a strange entity similar to this in their downstairs bedroom. According to their customs and traditions, we found ways to bless the land and hopefully help the spirits find peace. We think they did, because after that, the house had happier energy and the late night whistling stopped, and we never saw the angry spirit again. But even after the lands had been blessed, all the members of my family have seen a partially see-through Indigenous man walking through the woods by the house. I personally believe maybe that's the same spirit, and now he's found peace and is happier now.
That makes me feel good, because...
Right. And maybe knows that you're not going to cause him harm.
Right, yeah.
Thanks for listening to my stories. Stay spooky. See you on the other side. Kay.
Oh, man, Kay. I don't know why you got struck by lightning, but it sounds like you're very freaking open.
So open.
Always have been.
And now I'm picturing, like, I feel like when we listen to, or when we read our listener stories, I create visuals in my head, and I am imagining Kay is our stand-in, like our subject for Baby Witch. Like, she grew up in the woods. Like, I'm almost picturing away from civilization.
Yeah.
They foraged off the land.
Being rocked to sleep by ghosts at night.
Yeah.
Baby Witch.
Yeah. You all have inspired so many characters and worlds for us.
Yeah.
That will one day be something more than just imagined and talked about.
We promise you that.
We do promise that. Actually, will you read the one that I was going to read last, just because I want you to experience it?
Okay. Paranormal bathroom experience. Okay. Hi, Corinne and Sabrina. This story is short, but sweet and creepy. I've been listening since my junior year in high school, and now I'm a freshman in college. I always listen to new episodes on my walk to class, and this morning I was listening to the newest American Horror Story episode on my way to French class, and also in class because French can be boring.
I love that.
But my class is in a hall that was built in the 1940s, but it looks a little bit old and very, very creepy. Halfway through the class, I went to go use the restroom down the hall, and as I was sitting on the toilet, I heard a man's voice start to whisper very close to my ear.
Ugh.
I couldn't make out what the words said, but I heard "she" very clearly several times. So I started to freak out because I thought there was a man in the bathroom. So I quickly finished. I opened up the stall door, but I saw no one there.
She-wee.
She-wee.
She's weeing.
She's weeing. I still heard the voice after I got up, but it didn't sound as close to my ear. It was clearly a man whispering very fast, and it stopped as soon as I stepped out of the restroom. I was actually shaking afterwards. And I don't experience paranormal activity often, so when I do, it's obvious and it really freaks me out. I haven't been able to find any previous records of hauntings in that specific building, but my dorm is supposed to be haunted, so I've been keeping an eye out. Thanks for such an amazing podcast and a space to tell the spookiest stories where I know I'll be heard. Love ya, Ava.
Another example of our podcast being haunted, and you are not safe anywhere, and ghosts like to scare you when you're on the loo when your pants are down.
Yeah, what
you're
the
most
heck?
vulnerable.
What's he whispering?
I don't know.
Isn't she lovely?
Oh, that's sweet, but that's also not
she wonderful?
Yeah. Also, I'm curious, like, it's weird how spirits can communicate. Like, why was the only word that was coming through clearly she?
She.
Go back to that bathroom with ghost tube.
Yes. Unless it was like literally trying to mimic the sound of pee, like shh, shh.
Yeah, you have like a moaning Myrtle creeper man
What the
in
heck?
your bathroom.
Yeah. Ooh, sorry.
I'm not. Keep listening. Keep getting haunted.
With the pants down, no less. How scary.
How scary. If you have ghostly encounters, scary or not, if you've been struck by lightning or not, please email us at twogirlsoneghostpodcast@gmail.com, and also send us your superstitions. let us know what they are and we'll read them at the top of an episode or make a whole episode about it.
And some keywords.
Yeah, keywords. Oh, we have so many to ask.
Yes.
So many things to ask.
Homework. Everyone gets one.
Yeah. We love you.
Shout out to Jamie for editing this podcast. Thank you so much, Jamie.
And sorry.
We will see you on the other side.
We're high. Sorry.